What is up, my friends? We are back with another episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast. Correct that. Another happy episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast because the Reds have, of course, beaten Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid by 1-0. Joined by Mr. Conor Crosby and Mr. Chris Stonage. Look, I've got to put this out there. I'm ashamed of both of them, ladies and gentlemen. They're both runners at this point in their lives. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Chris. Would you like to tell the hard work and Anfield Agenda audience, apart from your coffee pods, we'll get to that in a minute, what you've been up to today before the pod?
Just a little half marathon, just to lob it in there. Just why not? Yeah, I got back and, that's why my hair's looking a bit mental. I got out the shower about...
that's why.
That's why,
yeah. That's the only reason why. But no, I wouldn't miss this pod for the world, guys. I timed it absolutely perfectly.
And Conor, as a man who's also ran 21k frequently, what's the attraction, lads? I mean, I know I could shed a couple of dozen pounds here, but I mean, I had a half Snickers, if that counts. But
I think it's just self-torture, really, isn't it? I think it's just like you're a glutton for punishment. You just do it to yourself, and then you give yourself a pat on the back afterwards.
Did you see the comment in one of your videos the other day, Conor, saying, is this the same Conor, the old Conor? Because if so, he's lost a lot of weight. Did you see that? I was seeing that comment and I was like,
didn't see that one, no. That's very nice.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he'd be delighted to see that one. Because you were never heavy, like, but like you definitely have, welcome to Men's Health Magazine, ladies and gentlemen.
Sponsored by Ninja.
What have we come into today? What are we talking about? And that's before we get into the coffee pods, but we'll get to that. Look, there he is, sipping away. How many pods are in that one, Chris? Go on, do tell.
Just one pod. One pod, two cups. One pod.
Instant coffee isn't good enough for Stonage anymore. He's got living that matchroom lifestyle now.
Yeah, if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
It's all we've seen the documentary. We know what the coffee game is like in Matchroom HQ, Chris. There's no lying to us, mate. We've seen
Chris
it.
has his own personal barista going around with him all the time.
Yeah, well, that's why Izzy crawls around the back because she's getting ready to get the coffee sorted. So that's just I tell everyone she's my girlfriend, but she's actually a barista.
There you go. See, living barista. We could all do it one. Right, I'm an Nescafe Gold man, ladies and gentlemen. I remember my roots. I know where I've come from. So
everyone's in the comments like 2 minutes in. Come on, boys, get on with it.
There'll be a load of Dolce Gusto heads in the coffee pod industry now in the chat going, oh yeah, we love a coffee. We love double pods, double pod in life. Right. Well, at least we're talking about edible pods, real pods, lads, not edible, drinkable pods, not the Tide pods. We won't have that conversation. Right. Let's get stuck into the game, Chris. And as you can tell, we're all in great form. Why wouldn't we be, Chris? 2 wins on the bounce. A very convincing performance. And this is the word we've been looking for all season, mate. I don't think you were at this game. I think you were just Joe Soper like the rest of us.
Over there. Sat on my sofa over there.
It was incredible, mate, wasn't it? It was incredible.
I have to say, like that, you know how we were saying it's Villa the best performance of the season, and I was sort of like, no, not really. That was from minute 0 to minute 90. That was by far and away our best performance of the season. How it was only 1-0, I'm sure we'll discuss, but we should have and could have won the game 3-4, 5-0, shutting out some of the best players in the world and keeping, some other players just sat on the bench until they came on and got a reception. But I'm sure we'll get into him as well.
We will. I mean, I nearly had to cancel the pod. I was so heartbroken about the poor treatment of young Trent. Me, Jill, Scott, Roy Keane, we're all heartbroken about the booing, but we'll get to that in a moment. Insert sarcasm here. Conor, your thoughts initially on the performance, mate, because look, I'll say one thing to you before I let you start your piece. If we hadn't have won that game, it would have been an absolute robbery based on the performance. And the only reason we didn't win it by more is a certain Belgian between the sticks for Real Madrid. But it was just an incredible performance, mate. One we've been waiting to see.
Yeah, like you said, Courtois definitely he just grows 10 arms every time he plays it, doesn't he? Like I've seen an image on Twitter floating around of him with like spider arms basically, and that's definitely what it felt like because like Chris said, it could have easily been 4, 5, 6. Like the amount of saves that man made that he had no right to be making was just incredible. But yeah, definitely our best performance of the season. And it felt like a knockout game. Like the intensity we played with, it felt like it was life or death at times. And it's good to see that because we really haven't seen that this season whatsoever. So yeah, good to see the lads actually putting in a performance. And it's definitely a good sign for the rest of the season. Like if we can continue to play like that in the Champions League, then no one's going to stop us.
We had conversations, Chris, going back a few weeks about what it might take before we might turn towards the manager maybe needing his marching orders. For me, the big concern was always going to be, are the players listening? Are they still fighting for the manager? Are they still taking his advice on board? And are they still doing the hard yards? that's been answered emphatically between the Aston Villa game and this game. So you won't hear a peep out of me now for the remainder of the season, because that was my concern. I wasn't worried about the signings. I wasn't worried about whether the manager can tactically get it right. I was just worried about the response from the players, and it's fair to say we've gotten that over the last 2 games.
100%. And I think the Anfield crowd as well has given what they think, and they've really shown their support for the manager, which I don't think I've heard ever, like the crazy support that we've heard for Arne Slot. I mean,
you could see what it meant to him, Chris. Sorry for cutting across. You could see what it meant to him in his post-match interviews.
Oh, mate, 100%. And because obviously it's not an ideal situation, you have people like us rightfully criticizing, and the pressure will build up and up and up. But because of maybe tactical tweaks, maybe a break, maybe I don't know what has changed over the last 2 games. I think there's a lot that has come towards us, but yeah, he must be very relieved that he's seeing what he saw last season come through again, which I think is credit to him as well. As much as the losses were detriment to him, I think we have to give him credit for these 2 wins.
Absolutely. We talked, Conor, about would he have that kitchen table moment, that Brendan Rodgers eureka kind of moment about what to do to try to switch this up. And it seems to be reverted back to the tried and tested midfield. Now, the difference between the 2 games we've seen was probably the left-hand side of attack, and he took out Cody Gakpo and put in Florian Wirtz. Now, I want to get your take on what you thought the addition of Wirtz to the left gave the balance of the team versus maybe what we have with Cody, or do they both have a place out there and it's going to be whoever wins the battle?
Yeah, it's tough to know because, like, obviously you want Wirtz in the number 10, but like that midfield is just working now and you don't want to disrupt that again. So I really did like Wirtz off the left, and like the amount of ground he covered, like what was it, like 11.7 kilometers or something? It was something
and that's
crazy.
Coming
like,
off as a sub as well. Like another 5 or 6 minutes, I think he could have done a little bit more.
Yeah, like he outran Szoboszlai. Like if that's the only thing we need to highlight there. Like that man's a machine, and he outran him.
Chris is down here to bottom going 21k Stonage here. I don't know what all this fuss is about, lads.
Can I just note that it took me 2.5 hours, and it probably took that. Well, it took them a lot less than that.
Just getting ready for extra time, Chris. That's all that was.
Honestly, just to add my bit, I thought he was unbelievable. In terms of the energy he showed, there was again some moments where maybe he didn't find the final pass because, again, his plane, I think, of knowledge is just so astronomically clear of everyone else. But yeah, and also he didn't just play on the left. Like the one bit that really struck out to me was when we actually saw him on the right wing pressing and winning the ball back. I think it was off. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Alvaro Carreras. He won it back off him and then fed it back into Salah. And I think that's how McAllister had his first shot over the bar. Like he creates chances from his work rate as much as his, creative genius.
Sorry, Conor, I did jump in and put across you there, mate. The difference, you were talking about the difference between Wirtz out there versus Gakpo, and how, I guess, we were able to finally get Wirtz into a position where we're not losing something elsewhere.
Yeah, like I actually seen a piece a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who wrote it, but someone basically saying like one of Wirtz's biggest problem in the centre was like he was receiving the ball almost too centrally. So maybe like coming in off the left is helping him because he still took up a lot of those positions, but he was almost doing like 1-2s and picking up the ball exactly where he wanted it then. Like he was orchestrating that play. So look, it worked. I would definitely go with that again in the big games. I think I'd probably pick him over Gakpo at this point, but Gakpo does have his place as well, of course. Like he always chips in with goals and assists. Like I think he's our second highest goals and assists in the Champions League this season, and like he's criminally underrated in fairness. But like when Wirtz puts in a performance like that, it's hard to go against him and say to start Gakpo again. In fairness, so I'd stick with Wirtz for the bigger games out on the left.
We did hear a little bit from Arsene Wenger, Chris. I'm not sure if you picked up on this interview with Wenger, with beIN Sports. Actually, was on as a pundit, and he said he basically tried to intimate that Liverpool pulled the bait and switch on Florian Wirtz, guaranteeing him that he was coming in to be the number 10. That broke up the midfield and messed up the midfield, and now he's basically trying to say Wirtz was telling Liverpool, I don't want to play off the left, I don't want to play off the left, and Liverpool played him off the left. I don't get the point, other than trying to belittle the club and what he was trying to do there, but ultimately, I'm sure Wirtz is willing to play wherever's best for the team.
Yeah, and like, there's no reason why he can't play number 10 in the future. It's just at the moment this is working. When he did play it, I felt that we looked a little bit more open in midfield, and there will be a time where we will try and make him the star, make him the the central point of our side because he is that good. But look, as he said on the left hand side, like he wasn't just there, like he was everywhere. You know, you don't cover 11 kilometers going up and down the one left hand side. Like he was everywhere.
Was it him, Chris, who put the cross in for Szoboszlai?
Yes,
the one that Courtois made the big save.
I think that was the one actually. Chris, you said I got off the left back. I think that was the one.
Yeah, because there was a challenge came in from Dean Huyson that sent the ball. We were pressing them, and a challenge came in on the right hand side from Huyson, a slide challenge that put the ball kind of towards the corner flag, and Wirtz got there. I think, on the right side.
No, that was it. He was amazing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know how Arsene Wenger knows this. Like he knows a lot about
it as well. Yeah, I don't know how he knows the inner workings of those conversations.
Like who gave Arsene Wenger this insider knowledge that seemingly even Florian Wirtz probably doesn't even know about? It's insane.
So I want to talk right backs, but I want to start with the good first. Well, last time, gentlemen, I asked you, is Conor Bradley now our first choice right back? He's answered that question, and I just want to know what you thought of another Bradley masterclass against Real Madrid. This time he had Vinny Jr. sewn up.
He really did, didn't he? Just properly pocketed him, and like he just seems to between Courtois against us and Bradley against Madrid, it just seems like this thing that always happens. Like he just turns into the world's best player, and I'm fully on board. Ballon d'Or winner next year. Like if we can just play Madrid a few more times, he has to have it sewn up because that was phenomenal. Like he was definitely our man of the match, and just it's just incredible. Like the crunching tackles, the closing down, everything was there. It was just fantastic. So let's hope he can stay fit.
I mean, a bit of an inside joke here, but we just bought a Conor Bradley painting for the studio, and during the game, I was messaging Conor, Chris, saying that's going up in value here by the minute because it was just so good a performance, mate. And I don't know what it is about superstars, whether it's Mbappe or Vinny Jr., but it certainly seems to bring the best out of young Bradley.
It's not a bad trait to have, is it? Being a big game player.
And it's Irish, mate. You know, penalty takers can't beat Kelleher. Stepping up, Ronaldo shitting himself, Mbappe shitting himself. It's just the Irishness.
And he's only 23 years old. Like he's got such a big future ahead of him if he keeps himself fit. I don't think Vinicius got past him once. Bradley was just so solid, and as I said before in previous pod, like the runs he makes going forward, just especially in conjunction with Salah, I think he's they're just starting to click a little bit when it comes. Salah goes wide, Bradley goes inverted. I really like it. I really look forward. I hope he can produce it consistently, because if he can, like we don't need another right back. Like he's the guy.
That and staying fit, as Arna said, if he can start to play 3 games every 7 or 8 days, that will go a long way as well. Let's talk about the other right back that came on, ladies and gentlemen, and the reception, because there was a question about how he was going to be received. And let's be honest, we all kind of had an idea, but we weren't certain of how he was going to be received. And I want to give context to this, Conor, because we're about to talk about why everybody else has a goddamn opinion that belittles Liverpool fans and their booing of Trent. But I want to just rewind back to the last day of the season before we start this conversation, because that seems to have escaped many, that Trent did get his moment. He did get his acknowledgement. He did get his emotional farewell. It was given to him on the last day of the season, and it was a nice moment, you know, and nobody can begrudge. That's what was a natural moment for the Kop and Anfield at the time. Nobody would belittle that, or nobody would say they were wrong. And now this time, he came back as an opposing player, and, you know, we all know the reception he got. I just wanted to add that in there, Conor, because that seems to be forgotten in a lot of the conversations. So Trent did get a nice goodbye moment.
Yeah, and even aside from that, just the basics of like people like saying we should be clapping him. Like, when have we ever clapped a rival player coming onto a pitch in any context? Like, it just makes no sense anyway. And like, some Liverpool fans won't want to boo, some will. Fair enough. Everyone who is a Liverpool fan is entitled to an opinion. But like, rival fans coming out with just utter nonsense, like, oh, he supported the club his whole life, how could you boo him? But like, he supported the club his whole life, how could he fuck us over and leave for Madrid? Like, you could make that argument too. So it's a load of nonsense, really. And like, I would have booed if I was there. 100% I would have booed. And because he's an enemy now, he is the rival. He shafted us, and he's coming back, and he deserves that hostile kind of welcome. Like, fair enough, he shouldn't be damaging murals and stuff like that, but players on the pitch, boo away. That's our God-given right as a football fan, really, isn't it?
I thought Bellingham actually spoke quite well on this after the game. He said basically something along the lines of, look, they were doing their job. as fans. You know, they were trying to get into the player's head. They were trying to get their team over the line. He's probably right, to be fair. And like Conor said, everybody pays the money. They have the right, as long as it doesn't get into the, you know, abusive side of things. It's Liverpool's fans' job to help Liverpool get over the line in a game of football. That's what they did.
Yeah. I mean, my 2 cents on it is that, like, whilst he was a Liverpool player, I didn't actually agree with it. I personally would never have booed him whilst he was a Liverpool player, and I didn't when he came on against Arsenal and got in a few verbal arguments with people in the crowd, saying, like, what the fuck are you doing? Because, like, realistically, he is a player in red, and that actually led to us not winning that game because we were cruising until he came on. He had got his moment, as you mentioned, on the final day of the season. Now he's not a Liverpool player. Like, it's a free game, really, I think. Look, it's a shame. He's responsible for it. Like, I don't get people who feel sorry for him because he orchestrated this situation himself by the way that he left the football club. If he left with a little bit more honour and then maybe even, you know, got the club a proper transfer fee for him, or, you know, was actually honest about his Duolingo lessons and things like this, then, you know, I think he would have left with a lot more respect. Like, he's not like selling Adam Lallana or James Milner. Like, this guy was at the top of his game, had loads of years to give left to Liverpool, and he didn't. So, fair game for me.
Look, for me, I would have been on the turning my back and pretending he doesn't exist side of it. That's where I would have been, but I can totally understand the booing during the 90 minutes. I absolutely understand Chris's point of not booing a player in red at the time as well. And like I said, I think everybody has mixed opinions. The only thing I don't like in all of this is the condescension that people are showing towards others, as if their opinion is the only right one, and that's it. I want to move on to another absolute disgrace, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Vinicius Jr. Look, Vinny has come in for a lot of racial abuse over the years, and we'll always stand with him on that because no player should have to live or play through that. But the antics, lads, the antics, he's a very easy fella to unlike, Conor, isn't he? Because, or to dislike, excuse me. He is an absolute little diva out there on the pitch. Honest to God, mate, it was appalling watching his antics.
It was just ridiculous. Like, every time anyone's hand went anywhere near his face, he was down like he'd been shot. And then, like, just like he has all the skill in the world, but then he just doesn't track back. Does none of the dirty work. He rolls around on the floor like he's the shades of Neymar in that sense, isn't it? Like, he's just a fantastic footballer who people dislike because he's just a prat, and that is the long and short of it. Like, he is just a prick on the pitch, and like, it's just, even Mbappe as well. Like, to be fair, he was nearly as bad as him the other night. Like, it's just pure ego and just antics. It's just, yeah, it just annoys me. Like, I'm glad we don't have any players like that at our club.
It has to be, Chris. It just has to be Conor Bradley trauma. It just has to be. It's the only thing I can think of.
I was actually going to say, like, he was just getting more and more frustrated that he was being pocketed by this guy who just turned into a complete demon. Like, there was no, I genuinely think that's what it was. I personally love watching Vinicius, but my goodness me, like, he was getting more and more angry and trying more and more to frustrate the crowd and frustrate Bradley, but he was having none of it and the crowd were having none of it. And in the end, like, I think his lack of defensive, you know, tracking back, you know, helped us, you know, create loads and loads of chances down their right hand side, because Bradley basically had a free run on the left back. So yeah, I was really, it was really poor, but yeah, I still really like him though. I kind of have a soft spot for him.
He's an incredible footballer, no doubt about that whatsoever. But God, he's just so unlikable with the antics, and it just, what gets to me, and this is probably the dad in me coming out, is it's just there's kids watching this lad. Like, there's young lads and young girls out there practicing their step overs and their whatnots, wanting to be the next Vinicius Jr, Kylian Mbappe. And they're seeing this, I just don't like it. It's just so unnecessary. There was one time though, Chris, talking about the tracking back, there was a Liverpool player within 3 yards of him, and he couldn't be bothered. He just couldn't be bothered to even try to track back. And oh man, I'd lose my shit if I had to watch that.
That's the one thing I think we have to give our right and left wingers. You know, there's a lot made of saying to Salah, you don't have to get involved with defensive, but he was really, really good the other night at doing that. Wirtz the same on that left hand side. So yeah, I think, you know, that was part of a lot of things that made us a lot more effective last night or the other night.
I want to just wind down the conversation about Madrid by just talking about the penalty incident before we finish up, because oh God, I nearly cried. So I want to rewind back to the Brentford game and Virgil van Dijk's foul, and it was initially given as a free kick, and then it went to VAR. And VAR then decided that it was inside the penalty area, and the referee awarded a penalty. And I don't think anybody had any problem with that process. You know, we can talk about whether we thought it was an actual foul or not, fair enough. But the process of was it in or out was done by VAR. It was straightforward, penalty given. Fast forward, Real Madrid and Liverpool. Handball given outside the box that the referee clearly sees from his position. Awarded, then we see it's inside the box as fans on the replay, and then we know VAR having a look at it. So surely, Conor, at that point, the only option for VAR is, was it inside the box or outside the box, like Van Dijk's challenge, and inform the referee where it was, and then a penalty's given. But what we'd seen was they then started to re-referee the game and call the referee over for something that they deemed as a clear and obvious error somehow. You know, it didn't hit his shoulder, it didn't hit his head, it didn't hit his bum, it hit his arm. And the ref seen that. Now, I don't think it was either a free kick or a penalty based on what we see in the Premier League week in and week out. But the process was different. And we knew as soon as he went to that monitor, and I said it over and over again, they're finding a way to not give this penalty because it's suddenly been figured out it's inside the box. And that disgusts me as a fan.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as what you said there. Like, when I seen it initially, I thought that's a very harsh handball. Like, if that was given against us, I'd be screaming about it, just because, like, it is slightly out, but he is just kind of turning, and the hand is just slightly out, in fairness. But like you said, like, VAR is there for the clear and obvious. Like, is it inside the box? Is it not? And they've just, like you said, they've re-refereed the game. They've engineered it so they didn't have to give a penalty, and it's just a farce. It's just ridiculous. And going back to, like you said, with the Brentford game as well, like, fair enough, that was done properly. It was like, right, is it in or out? We found out, grand, give a decision. But, like, it's just re-refereeing the game, like you said, and they're making rules up as they go along, because there is no consistency with it. That's all we ask for as football fans, is consistency on these things.
And on that one, Chris, as Conor said, like, there could have been subjectivity whether that was actually a foul from Van Dijk or not, because it was just a glancing touch on the underneath of the boot, if I remember correctly. So it's not like they then had doubts about whether that was a foul or not. They just said it was inside the box and it's a penalty. So the whole process just really wound me up.
Yeah, and to be fair, right, what I will say is, I and you guys have said it as well, like, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a penalty. It would have been really, really harsh, so we got the right decision. But actually, we didn't get the right decision, because it was a drop ball to Real Madrid for some reason, when it actually took a massive deflection and went for a corner.
I think the referee had blown his whistle before the ball went out, wasn't it? I think that was the argument.
But even then, like, it blew my mind. Like, honestly, you can't. I have no words to try and justify it. I'm trying to at least try and justify it, but there is no justification for it, because the whole point of VAR is to go in there and correct the obvious decisions, correct, you know, not to re-referee the game, which, as you guys have said, is exactly what they've done. So, you know, keep moving the goalposts, lads. Keep doing it, because we're just sort of, I think we're all totally clueless as to what they can and what they can't do, which is frustrating.
So we all know that if they decided that was just outside the area, there's absolutely nothing they could do about the handball, right? That the handball part becomes irrelevant at that point. So that's what the whole conversation for me should revolve around, is they should have been a black or white, it's in or outside the area, like Van Dijk's challenge was. That should have been the only information relayed to the referee in that scenario, because I guess that's what VAR were intervening for, right? They weren't intervening over whether it was a handball or not. They were just intervening about whether it was in or outside the area, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not a VAR, let's check every little bit. Because otherwise, it's like when we first saw VAR in the Premier League, they were going back like so many different phases of play that were just like totally irrelevant to the goal towards the end. Like, what is the remit? Where can they do it? Where can they implement it? Because otherwise, there's actually no point in having a ref. Like, just don't bother with it. Just have like a robot in there to blow a whistle. And yeah, AI ref, ChatGPT ref it. That's the way forward.
Before we move on from this, did you see Van Dijk's bit of shithousery to Tchouaméni afterwards? I think it was the next free kick. He was basically like doing this to him, basically saying, "Go on, stick your hands out and block it again."
I read that.
I do love a bit of shithousery from our players. I do. Right, gentlemen, let's move on to Manchester City, because Conor, I want to come to you first because you said to me a few days ago we're winning all 3 games, and I laughed at you as I always do when you come out with these very, well, it ends up being pretty much matter-of-fact statements, to be honest with you, but I didn't see it coming. We've got 2 of the 3 now, and we're heading into this weekend where, no, they're in decent form. They had a nice win against Dortmund in the Champions League. Haaland's looking absolutely unstoppable this season. Still confident on Sunday?
100%. VVD's pocketing him, as he always does. Like, VVD just seems to have this thing over Haaland, doesn't he? So hopefully that continues. But look, it's hard to know if I'm confident for a win, but I think it's definitely in the realms of possibility given like how well we played against Madrid. Like, we're definitely capable of going there and getting results. I think a draw is probably the prediction, but I have to stick with the win now, don't I, after saying 3 wins. So yeah, hopefully we can get the job done. But like, it's definitely looking a lot more positive now than it was a week ago when we were thinking of this game.
I'll take your positivity, Chris, and I'll raise you Michael Oliver on VAR.
To be fair though, like who is good? Like it's all they're all shit. So
Oliver and Man City though, it's just, there's something about him involved in any time we play them that just doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. Or Arsenal, where he was like Odegaard's handball. Grand lads, natural, moving his arm away from the ball.
The one thing I think we have to take from especially our previous game against them and from their match against Bournemouth is they are weak from set pieces defensively, like really weak. We have to unleash our inner Arteta.
Hello, Pot.
I know. Well, yeah. Maybe they'll be thinking the same as us, but I think they're weak from set pieces. I think that's the way we're going to hurt them. Van Dijk and Konate. I think they had probably 3 or 4 chances against Real Madrid, like in a row. Do you remember those corners? We kept winning the big header. I think that's the way we hurt them, to be honest. I think we set up like we did in March when we beat them 2-0, got the early goal from a set piece, unleash your inner Arteta, lads.
I don't know if we have an inner Arteta, to be fair, nor do I want to unleash at any moment. So going into a Conor, save 11 that we started with against Real Madrid?
I think it'd be hard not to go with that, in fairness, after like it worked so well. Like, you could make an argument for maybe Gakpo back in, but like, you can't drop Wirtz after playing that well either. So I'd probably say the same, in all honesty. I've a bad feeling he might go with Kirkhead just because Robertson played a good bit lately, but I really hope he doesn't, because Robertson has been top notch at left back. Outside of that, I don't think there's any argument. It's either just a left back or else maybe Gakpo in for Wirtz, or Wirtz into midfield and McAllister comes out or something like that. But I can't see a huge amount of changes, so hopefully we see the same 11.
And yourself, Chris, would you agree, same 11?
Yeah, I think so. I was surprised that Robertson played in the week, but yeah, I think he has to play, to be honest. And I think it's part of the reason why Wirtz looks so good is because we had Robertson behind him. Kirkes is a chaos merchant at the moment, and he needs to settle down. So give him a bit of time in the international break, settle in a bit more. I don't think you can change that. You can't change a winning formula.
Cheeky little score prediction then before we move on to the centre-back conversation, gents. And I'll stick with you, Chris, while we're there. Give us a score prediction.
3-2 Liverpool. 3-2.
Oh, don't know if the heart can take that. 3-2. Yeah. I'll take the win.
I'll say 3-2. I'll say 3-1. So I was going to say 3-2, but I'll mix up and say 3-1.
Nice. Nobody's getting mine. I'm just going out in the preview, so I have to wait for that one. But I love the confidence. I love it. And look, at least I can sit here and understand the confidence now with what we've seen for the last 2 games. But I tell you what, if we do win this, it's going to be a nice looking forward to the next run of games, because they're a little bit more friendly to us now. The fixtures coming up after this. So whatever happens, it's been a good week. So fingers crossed we get the good result.
I have a question for you, Craig, before we move on. If we do win this game, can we win the league?
I'm still going to say we don't have a right to have that conversation until Arsenal starts stuttering a bit, because, you know, if we keep winning, they keep winning, there's still 7 points there. It's not insurmountable, but Arsenal are definitely going to have to come through a sticky period. And we will have had some difficult fixtures out of the way. We would have played Arsenal at Anfield. We'll have had Manchester City. We'll have had one of the United games out of the way. So it's not impossible. If we win, I'll certainly have a lot more belief, yeah, because that's a difficult and away game out of the way. So I would say I'll come into it's possible more than it's impossible now, but I'm not going to say yes, because it's still 7 points at the end of the day. And what about you? Do you think it's possible if we win?
No. I think Arsenal are by far and away the best team in the league. And I know it sounds negative, but they're just very good.
It's the defense, isn't it? If they're not conceding, it's very difficult to see them. Like, you almost might take an injury, and you don't want to wish an injury on anybody, but it takes something to disrupt that back line for it to become a little bit more achievable. And look, fair play to them. I want to say that as well. Like, they assembled a good team. They're defending well. If they can go on and win it from this point, fair play. Yourself, Connor, how are you feeling about the league question? Let's go to that. And a prediction which gave us was 3-1. Sorry,
I'm going back and forth on it. Really, I think it's probably more down to I don't think we're going to be consistent enough to catch them. But I do have a feeling like if Arsenal are only 3 or 4 points ahead of us or Man City going into February, will they start to crumble when they don't have the experience of a title run-in? Whether that's us or Man City, I'd probably back City to be more consistent than us in all fairness. But I think if Arsenal, they need to be 7 or 10 points ahead at that point to really secure it, because I think they might start to crumble towards the end of the season if not. But as it currently stands, they're just not conceding goals, and it's impossible to catch up with them then. So, if we win on Sunday, it's possible, but I wouldn't be backing it. But it wouldn't be the biggest surprise ever if we did somehow pull it out of the bag.
Well, lads, I think we've covered every base there, so we can come back to this and say, well, I said this. Didn't say it wasn't possible. Also didn't say it was going to happen. I love it. We're politicians, and the politicians coming out. Right, let's talk centre-backs. Loads of reporting over the last few days, but a whole myriad of things. So let's start with the Real Madrid and KONATE situation. So one report says that they want Upamecano and that they have a verbal agreement. In fact, 2 reports say that. Another report says that they don't want Marquez because his wage demands are too high. Yeah, another report says Marquez has given his word to Liverpool, and that's why Madrid are out of that race. And then we've got the whole situation with do they want or not want KONATE, Chris. So 11 minutes left, mate. Crack on.
It's honestly, it is a total minefield, isn't it? Of who said he said what. My overall feeling to I know we've got 11 minutes left, but I'm going to cut it extremely short with my feeling. But my feeling is that Marc Guéhi is a Liverpool player at the end of the season. I remain consistent on that, and that Ibu Konate is not a Liverpool player at the end of the season, whether that be with Real Madrid or with someone else. Because I just feel if he was going to sign a contract, he would have done it now. He's not good enough to run your. He's not Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk. You're not good enough to do it. So clearly his demands are either astronomical or that he's already got an agreement verbally with someone else. Because for me, he would have signed a contract already.
Connor, I want to just focus on the Marc Guéhi situation with you for a second, because you were saying to me, Lewis Steele, basically we had yesterday Madrid ruled him out because of his wage demands were too high, and Lewis Steele's reporting today said something a bit different.
Yeah, so he basically said that his sources in Madrid believe that Marc Guéhi has given his word to us that he's coming to us, and Lewis Steele, he's fairly spot on with these things. In fairness, he wouldn't be a bullshitter, so I'd be inclined to believe that, which is fantastic news. Even he was speaking then about could we possibly go in January? I don't think he fully ruled that out either, but it does sound like Marc Guéhi's still convinced on the Liverpool project, which is good to hear. Because we were hoping he would, considering he had a medical done and everything. But yeah, so hopefully a positive one on that one. It's always good to see, especially today when that came out today after the Spanish side kind of saying that Madrid had cooled their interest as well. It does make sense and it links up. So I'd be inclined to believe it, in fairness. So I think we probably will get him at this point.
So I'm just going to give Sky, TNT Sport, Talk Sport, and everybody else a warning now. If we sign Marc Guéhi, I'm coming for you all, because I remember sitting here and watching report after report talking about why Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid are most likely going to be the ones who get Marc Guéhi, and Liverpool have lost their chance. And yeah, I've got the receipts. So I've got a lot of saved up, pent up aggression and anger about that situation that I'm holding in, because I, like Chris, hope that it is right and he does come in. January, Chris, let's assume Marc Guéhi is going to come in at the end of the season. I would still make a very good argument, mate, that we need somebody in January for 2 reasons. One, just numerically for the rest of the season, and 2, at that point we got to be pretty clear in our minds that it's unlikely KONATE resigns.
Yeah, I also think it massively depends on how we're doing as well. It might come to a point where we're sort of 4th or 5th, 12 points, 13 points behind Arsenal, and we think, right, okay, maybe we can get to the end of the season. But if we are in in a real situation where we're through to the next round of the Champions League. We're, into the next round of the Cup, FA Cup, and we're doing all right in the league. We could go on and win it. That for me would be the sign to go, right, let's actually get GUEHI in now, because it might be worth the money in prize money, and just having that numerical number. Like, we can't forget, KONATE will get injured at some point. Like, his track record says he will get injured, and our backup is Joe Gomez. Like,
do you think though, Chris, that GUEHI would move mid-season? Because I don't personally.
Maybe.
I don't think he would either.
You don't think he would? Well, again, depends on Palace. Depends on how Palace are doing. But yeah, we have to get somebody then, because if we're fighting across 3 fronts, then, and we're doing well in all of them, I think we have to, because we can't rely on KONATE's body anymore.
See, I absolutely agree about that. And Conor, my thought process is, if we don't know what KONATE is doing by the time the January market's open, I would say work on the assumption that he's leaving, because if GUEHI is in the bag for the summer, we know that's coming. We know Giovanni will be back for next season. So you're starting to see a shape there. Then Virgil will have another year. I would still argue, though, we need to go out and bring somebody in January for the very reason Chris just said, is we are playing with fire at the minute. One injury to one of our starting centre-backs, and it could really unravel things.
100%, yeah. You can't rely on 3 defenders, one who's getting on in years, one who is a liability in Joe Gomez, and one who is always injured as KONATE. And Gomez is injured the whole time as well, to be fair. So even if you look at, like, if KONATE, even if he stays, I think we still need to sign someone to replace Joe Gomez ultimately, because he probably will be off in the summer. So I think what we'd probably likely see is GUEHI in the summer, and then if there is someone in January, maybe someone a little bit younger. Like, there was links this morning with what's his name? It was a Greek defender at Wolfsburg, like Koulirakis or something. I feel like someone like him was probably more likely to come in for like maybe 20-30 million, and he could be the young one then to replace Gomez long term. So you'd have like Van Dijk, possibly KONATE as well, GUEHI, then Leone, and this other young centre back. So I'd say something like that is probably more likely in January, because I don't think Mark GUEHI is going to want to move in January, in all honesty.
Yeah, I don't see the move in January either, because of the whole World Cup thing and his England place. I just don't. I don't see it. Nalo could come on for 2-3 minutes, lads, at some points during the season.
He popped his head as well. I was going to say, yeah, 2. He could come on. He'd be even on less even than Joe Gomez. Unbelievable. What a man. The quiz question.
Right, before we finish up, I just want to have a little conversation around the call-up of Alexander Isak to Graham Potter's first Swedish squads. Certainly caught me off guard to see him called up, Chris. Initially, I thought, well, is he going to be called up to be assessed and sent back? Because I can't see any rhyme or reason to it, other than the fact that, of course, Sweden are kind of desperate now in their qualification hopes.
Yeah. It looks like, I think Potter said that, like, he's definitely not going to play 90 minutes in both games. So he's clearly, closer than we all thought he was going to be. I think we all thought he'd be back maybe after the international break. But yeah, part of me thinks it's positive, because it shows that he's close to being back. But the other part of me is saying, like, just please just sit it out, Alexander. Just chill, have a good little sort of mini preseason in the international break, and then get back in afterwards. Yeah, I'm going to try and see the positive side, but it's difficult.
Yourself, Conor, does it concern you at all he's been called up?
Yeah, like Chris said, I think I'd rather him just sit out, just do a bit of training back at the AXA, just get up to fitness, focus on that, because like even the traveling, the different playing, like, just it's just not worth it. Like, ultimately, is it? Like, he's barely, like, even if he does go with Sweden, like, he's not going to be fully fit, so he's not going to give them what they want either. So like, I don't see the point from either side. Like, he's not going to be at his peak physical fitness and performance for them, and then he's going to come back tired and still half injured. Like, there's no benefit to it, really. Like, he should just be sitting it out, focusing on his recovery, and then coming back fully fit towards the end of the month, because, like I said, it doesn't benefit either side, I don't think.
I wanted to quickly talk about the future as well with Isak, because we know Mo's going to the AFCON in January, or end of December, January. What's going to happen with Ekitike and Isak, Chris? Do you think there is a way we find to play these 2 guys together? And will that, I guess, loss of Mo for that period of time, will that maybe spark Arne into finding a way to make it work?
There has to be, because that's what they're all brought in for at the end of the day. Obviously, with the tragic passing of Diogo, probably sped up process with signing players in the summer. But this is all about replacing Mo Salah whilst Mo Salah's still here, so we don't have that as soon as he leaves. So yeah, there has to be a way to work it out. I think Ekitike is really versatile. I like him in the middle, but I think he is versatile enough to play on the right, on the left, and he may be in behind Isak. And I think with Wirtz, we've seen enough. I think he can do the same, even though he's clearly a 10. But yeah, there's going to have to be a way to budge him in because he's a £130 million striker. Like, he scored 20 goals last season. He's someone who pretty much guarantees you goals. So I think it would be irresponsible not to use him.
Once you said the word versatile, my brain started going waffly versatile.
No idea.
I couldn't get out of my head. All I could see now was him running around like a bird's eye potato waffle. Other waffles are available, by the way. But yeah, as soon as you said the word versatile, that's the first thing that came into my head. Yeah, so where to go with this then? So I guess, Connor, how do you cook your waffles? Now, Isak and... Actually, I wanted... Yes, sorry. Now I remember where I was going. Apologies, listeners. I wanted to just commend Real Madrid, by the way. Sorry for the tribute to the Ogo Jota that they laid before the game. That's what I seriously wanted to say when Chris mentioned Real Madrid and the game against them. I forgot to mention that. So full credit to them for that one. Connor, how do you see this Isak Ekitike double act working, or is it Wirtz eventually in behind as the 10 that he was promised that Arsene Wenger is so very upset about?
Yeah, it's hard to know. Like, I feel like we could end up going back to that kind of 4-4-2 we've seen against Frankfurt, especially during AFCON. Like, instead of having like a Frimpong or Chiesa come in, you stick Wirtz out on the right, Gakpo on the left, Ekitike and Isak up front, and then you kind of swap into that 3-5-2 in attack. So it's either that or some sort of, like, everyone loves to try out these, like, oh, do a diamond midfield, as if like it's not FIFA. Like, you're not just throwing out these random positions and all. It's just like it's just nonsense here and all them things. But like, there has to be a way to get two of them on the pitch. And like Chris said, like, Ekitike is more than versatile enough to go left or right, or even I think he played as a number 10 at times as well. Like, we don't really need another number 10, but just to highlight the fact that he can play multiple positions. So wouldn't surprise me one bit if we did see him on the wing. But I think that 4-4-2 could be something we do see in January when Salah goes off to AFCON.
They go with eggs in, eggs on, bacon, lamb chops, bird's eye potato. What? Chris doesn't watch telly, I forgot. So he probably has no idea what we're talking about there.
I'm just smiling and waving, bro.
Do you remember that ad, Connor, or are you too young?
Vaguely remember.
Oh, God, I'm on my age here. Lad, Chris doesn't watch telly, by the way, viewers. He doesn't never
watch
watch
the Traitors.
Father Ted.
Watch the Traitors. Traitors is banging.
Still not watch Father Ted now?
I know.
Sopranos?
No.
The Wire?
No.
Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh my God. What have you watched?
I watched Good Will Hunting the other day. That was good.
That's a film. That's not a TV show.
Or something since...
Wow. It's all the same.
Great film, though, isn't it?
It is a banger. Yeah. I'm trying.
Not good enough, Chris. Not good enough. I mean, if you're going to apply for your Irish citizenship, you've got to watch Father Ted, mate. It's got to be done.
I'd love to be Irish, mate. Get that sweet EU passport.
We'll get you into Love Hate as well. It's probably the best bit of Irish television that's ever been made. Chris just again nodding his head there, no clue what we're talking about. So that's pretty much it for us today, ladies and gents. Do let us know how disappointed you are with Chris in the comment section. Drop a like if you've enjoyed this on YouTube, and of course if you're watching it on Spotify, we appreciate your support as well. We'll be back after hopefully a victory over Manchester City on Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.